Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're gonna be a better person after watching this video. Entitled Dad Tries to Steal College Fund, Cuts Off Ties. This story has no happy ending, nor any revenge, nor anything witty. It's a story of simple reality and a lesson that entitlement can lead to betraying your own flesh and blood. It's something that has been gnawing at me for a long time. Hopefully I can let it go after I tell it. The background. When I was born, my parents made a plan to see to it that I would go to college. They set up a bank account under my name and invested a small amount of money in it. This probably would have been bigger had it not been for future events. During or shortly after a desert storm, my parents divorced. I was around 2 or 3 at the time. I lived with my mother, who has terrible taste in men. She briefly remarried years later and continued to be single for most of her life. Despite the hardships of being a single mother, she did her best to see that I would succeed. She has moments of Karen behaviour, but anything worth a story, time will tell. But this story isn't about her, but rather my father. As a child, I would visit him annually for 2 weeks. We'd often go visit his relatives and take a trip. His life seemed more stable. He remarried when I was 11, with a woman who already had a daughter roughly my age. My half-brother was born 2 years later, making us 13 years apart. As far as I know, they're still married. 2008. I was set to graduate high school. I had been accepted to a big-name university in my state and had enough scholarships to pay for the dues. With costs covered, we decided it was best for me to live on my own with the money saved from years ago. My father and his family came to my graduation ceremony. I bought an old car a few months before. I took my little brother for a ride in it, as he looked up to me. I had dinner with them before they headed home, and I told them all about my plans for the future. The next day, they went home, and I prepared for the next big hurdle in life. My mother, though horrible with relationships, is a good judge of character. For example, she had suspicions about a teacher at my elementary school and told the school that I was not to be in his class. Later that year, that teacher was arrested after multiple allegations of molesting boys. She was also suspicious of my father. She helped me transfer the money from the original account to one more local. This was also to make it a bit easier for me to access the funds because the bank in question wasn't in the state. As the account was under my name, I had authority over it and approved it via telephone. At the time, I was completely oblivious to my mother's suspicions. Her suspicions were absolutely correct. A couple of days after, she got an email from my father, the content of which contained some very colourful language. It also said that I could go rot in my junky car as well, clearly showing utter contempt towards us. My father had tried to empty my bank account without my knowledge or consent. When she told me what had happened, I didn't believe her. I've often been on his defence, but that changed when she showed me the email itself, with his address attached as a sender. A week passed by and I got a typed letter from my father. It was in a southern-style polite tone. While it seemed neutral on the outside, a few cracks here and there slipped. I'll never forget him telling me that my stepsister was more worthy of the money than me, and that I was stealing from my half-brother. He also attacked my mother, saying that she was using me for her own gain. The note ended with a declaration. Unless I paid them the money in full, they would cut me off. He argued that since he made the income at that time, I had no right to take it, even though it was under my name. He also tried to deflect all culpability away from himself, as he said that his wife made him do it. At the bottom of the page was a signature, his own. And that was it. I was cast out, disowned by a man who was never really a part of my life, one who finds money more valuable than kin. He can say whatever he wants to defend himself, but the fact still remains that he went through with his actions despite having ample time to think about it and reconsider. The aftermath. To this day, we have yet to talk to each other. His betrayal has made it difficult for me to trust people in general. It was a lesson I've learned well. Never let your guard down. I have since then moved to a different country, living my own life and writing my own story. I've been keeping in touch with other relatives on that side, those not so close to him. They say that he's aware of the things happening in my life, but nothing has stirred from it. I've talked to an uncle about possible reconciliation, and he told me to make the move. While I tried and had been tempted to do it, the fact that he made the executive decision and the way he talked to us have kept me from taking the action. Not everything that has come from this has been bad. It has motivated me in a way. In a sense, I look to his example. However, it's not inspiration to follow it, but to be better than him. I can't fix my own past or present, but I can give someone else a thing I never had. A providing father. Wow, his dad is complete scum. This guy obviously worked hard enough to get scholarships to get through college without debt, and all his dad seen was money. In my opinion, if someone is going to cut you out of their life because you won't give them what they want, think of it as the trash taking itself out. They're doing you a favour and removing their toxicity from your life. Entitled Aunt demands my grandma pay her daughter just for existing. This is my first time posting here. I'm not really sure how to start. Also, English is not my first language, so please, let me know if I make any mistakes, and sorry for the long post. Here's the backstory. My aunt has always been entitled and a parasite. It got so bad that everyone in her family, except a few people, stopped talking to her, and she even got a divorce. She spoiled her daughter so much that even after graduating college, she doesn't want to work and sent her father to trial to try and get a monthly payment out of him, claiming it was child support. Now, this could be reasonable if she was underage, but she's 31 years old and her father left when she was 28. She had been living with her now ex-boyfriend since she was 19. He paid for all of her expenses until they broke up for this very reason, and she was forced to move back with her mother. My grandmother has always let them stay at her place and gave them everything they said they needed because my other aunt died years ago, so she's scared of her getting mad and consequently losing contact. After divorcing her, my uncle let her have the house, which she sold so her daughter could enjoy a few months of spending money on luxury items, travelling, and basically everything she wanted. All of this happened while they were living at my grandma's, and after telling her my uncle had kept the house. She obviously noticed it wasn't true, but couldn't say anything as she was being emotionally manipulated. We all tried to tell her to distance herself from my aunt because she's toxic, but she couldn't do it. She even bought them a new apartment close to the beach. They didn't want one in a crappy place, as they said. So here's the story. After a long time of having to deal with this, my grandma started telling me about how my cousin pretended she had been looking for a job for years when she actually just didn't want to work. And about a week ago, she visited my grandmother and informed her all teary she was moving to Portugal as she couldn't find a job here. My grandma said that was okay and even encouraged her to do it so she could build her own future. My cousin got mad and asked if she didn't care that she was leaving. My grandmother replied she did because she loved her, but it would all be for the best. So the next day, she woke up to the sound of loud banging on the door. She has a doorbell, mind you. It was my aunt, who rushed inside as soon as my grandma opened it. The conversation went a little like this. EA is entitled aunt, G is grandma, EC entitled cousin. Are you seriously going to let entitled cousin leave to another country to look for a job? I don't know. I don't think it's such a bad idea. She's finally going to be independent. Don't you care about your poor little granddaughter? She's going to be alone in a whole different country because she doesn't have any money. She's 31. She'll be fine. If you hadn't spoiled her so much to begin with. How dare you talk to me like that? And do you even care about entitled cousin or me? If you did, you wouldn't let her leave the country. Now she's forced to go because you won't help her anymore. You should pay her 1,500 euros a month or I'll understand that you don't love your daughter and your granddaughter and will disappear from your life. She'll have to leave to Portugal and you won't see me or her ever again. Is that what you want? Now, as I've stated before, my grandma really fears losing contact with her children, so my aunt uses that to blackmail her. I'll see what I can do. Couldn't you lower the amount a little bit? I don't have that much money myself. What do you think we are? Rats? We can't live with less money than that. Okay, just let me check my savings and I'll let you know. At this point, my aunt leaves and my grandma bursts into tears. Today, she's asked me and my parents for advice because she doesn't know what to do anymore. We've assured her that she won't have to pay them a cent and that we're going to help her as much as we can. We've also called my aunt and told her we would be calling the police if she doesn't stop blackmailing her immediately. It looks like the word police has frightened her a bit, but she's got mad and now won't talk to my grandma. I guess it's for the best. Sorry again for the long post. There are two major things in life that can get me irrationally angry. Animal abuse and elderly abuse. Trying to take your own grandmother for 1,500 euros a month because you don't want to work is one of the most horrible things you could do. At 31 years old, you should be the one taking your grandma out to lunch, helping with things around the house, and overall not being a complete bellend. I'm sorry, but things like this do get me a bit upset. I just want to find this granny and give her a big hug. My blind neighbour is a troll to entitled dad. Okay, here's some context. I live next door to an elderly couple, two really sweet people. The husband, let's call him BE for blind elder, is a blind old man of about 70. His wife, let's call her SG for sweet granny, was sick one day, so I offered to take BE to the store to get some stuff. Entitled dad is ED. I help the blind elder into his car after saying goodbye to sweet granny and I drive them to the store. Blind elder always tells jokes about his condition, laughing as though he could care less about the fact he can't see. When we got to the store, I help him out of the car and inside, allowing him to put a hand on my shoulder so I can be his eyes. We managed to buy what we need and get to the lunch meat since they needed some. Each meat I grab as a sample, I hand a blind elder, letting him to feel if it's the perfect size. While he's feeling the salami, I heard someone clear his throat in a rude way. I turn around and find myself face to face with Entitled Dad. Entitled Dad is an average looking middle-aged man with barely any hair in his head. His kids are 2 twin boys who are around age 7. Entitled Dad starts asking us to hurry up and asks why the blind elder is touching the meat that way. I quickly explained that my neighbour is blind, causing the dad to shake his head and say something about him and his kids were in a hurry. Blind elder eventually turns around and hands me the meat he'd been feeling. Then the dad gets impatient. He's probably faking it, he seems way too confident. Blind elder just let out a laugh and had the look of, I'm gonna scare him. Then to my amusement, blind elder takes off his sunglasses to show his eyes, causing the dad to back up as my neighbour stumbles towards him with his hands outstretched, yelling about how someone turned off the lights and how the world has been thrown into eternal darkness. The dad and his kids run like scared dogs, causing my neighbour to laugh so loud he had tears in his eyes. He put his sunglasses back on, and we continued shopping. When we got back to the house, blind elder started telling his wife what happened and how he made a big tough dad pee his pants in fear. Ironically, the entitled dad didn't see that one coming. Oh god, that was a terrible joke. Okay, so that's all for r/EntitledParents. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Twitter, Discord, and Patreon links are in my description, and any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!